The complete betting strategy to predict over 1.5 goals in 2025. Right? So YouTube, this is the video you need to be watching. This is the video that is going to help you determine, all right, and come to the decision any single time you're predicting a game. Which market are you supposed to be betting on? Should you bet on over 1.5 goals or should you bet on over 2.5 goals? I want you to picture this very scenario, YouTube, all right, whereby you presented over 1.5 goals at an odd of 1.39. At the same time, you presented over 2 goals at an odd of 1.70. However, this is a game whereby you feel confident that the ability of over 1.5 occurring or even over 2.5 occurring is very, very likely. Which market are you supposed to bet on? Are you supposed to bet on the over 1.5 or are you supposed to bet on the over 2 goals market? When you get to answer this question, YouTube, you will be in a position to confidently make safer predictions, or if you want to say, you will be in a position to come up with your double your money bet slips, all right? In this scenario, the question boils down into this: what you need to bet on to make profit, all right? And I've presented you a visual answer, an answer that you're going to view on your own. This is a game that is going to be playing later tonight, a game from Brazil, Campeonato Brasileiro Serie B, Clube Atlético Paranaense playing Avaí, and my prediction is over 2 goals. In this very match, over 1.5 was presented at an odd of 1.23. In this very match, over 1.5 at an odd of 1.23 odds. But because my conviction is certain that this is a game whereby we should be having at least 3 goals, instead of cowering, I have backed over 2 goals at an odd of 1.70. If you've been watching my content for some time, you need to realize that I do love betting on over 2 goals, especially where the odd is 1.5 plus, right? Where the odds is 1.50 plus. Because I've realized that the market always tends to be wrong. In this scenario, the market is the bookies. They're the ones setting the price. In most scenarios, they always tend to be wrong. All right? At the same time, there is a quote I've included in this video. The sharpest bets are built on repeatable patterns, not reputation. A majority of my betting success is due to my ability to identify repeatable patterns, what some of you will identify as edge. This is what some are going to call edge in football betting. At the same time, it's what others are going to call value in football betting. Or at the same time, it's what others are going to call positive EV. Right? I'm using simple English to ensure that you understand me. To win in football betting, you must have the ability to identify repeatable patterns, because repeatable patterns in most scenarios get to outweigh reputation. What is reputation? Reputation, for example, is saying that Manchester United is a very strong team, so they won't be losing against Derby United. All right? A Derby is from Championship, if I'm not wrong, or League One. Really can't tell. I rarely bet on those leagues. So YouTube, this is another indication. This is another video I've included. Somebody went ahead and watched my recent SofaScore betting video. Good morning, brother. Hit these 2 odds yesterday, not by telling your bets, but by learning from other videos. Keep them coming, and most of all, thank you. Beautiful double your money bet at midnight, also by following your strategy. A game from Panama. That's what no European football does to a person, I guess. If my brother was able to bet on a league known as Panama, I know you're probably asking yourself, Master Bettor, where do you get the statistics? Where do you get the statistics? Where do you get the team news? Where do you get the team news? Where do you get the information to be in a position to bet on a league from Panama? It's very simple. My brother, I've blurred his name, was able to use the SofaScore 6-step process The SofaScore 6-step process that I shared with you. If you haven't watched the video, please proceed and watch it. And these echoes what I've told you over here. The sharpest bets are built on repeatable patterns, not reputation. All right? So to get us rolling YouTube, now that you understand how important this video is, with this complete betting strategy on predicting over 1.5 goals in 2025, after watching this video, you will be in a position to identify games whereby over 2 goal market is going to present you 1.50 plus odds. Odds that I term as profitable odds in the long run. So the complete betting strategy to bet and predict over 1.5 goals in 2025. There must know checklist. In step number 1, or checklist number 1, what you must ensure that the football game you are seeking has achieved is the following. You will be using the app known as SofaScore, right? I believe SofaScore is the most underrated live score app in the world of football betting. If you haven't downloaded this app, there is a link. There is a link in the pinned comment section. In the pinned comment, I have presented you the SofaScore link. So download the app, and then after downloading the app, we may proceed with our class today. All right? Take your time, download the app, all right? Download it, and once you've downloaded it, we may proceed with our class today. So once you download your SofaScore app, you will be looking at football matches. Any football game you open, let me bring up my phone. Any football game you open, all right? You're going to find the first tab known as Details, AI Insights. You don't need to subscribe. Odds, lineups, statistics, commentary, standings, knockout, matches. So there is a tab known as Matches, all right? I personally use the one installed on my laptop, all right? But I want you to install it on your phone, because if you have it on your phone, it's going to be better, all right? So you're going to be looking specifically for matches whereby in the head-to-head streaks, both teams to score, yes or no, is highlighted, all right? And an example of such a match that I found out, which we have bet on today before it has played, is Atletico PR Paranaense versus Avaí, all right? This is the game. I'm going to walk you through the processes and the checklist that I was able to achieve to be in a position to confidently state, in this game, Atletico versus Avaí, I am expecting over 2 goals. All right, YouTube? Perfect. So that is the first step. In step number 2, you're going to be looking for football teams that are mid-table and the points difference between them is not more than 10. I do prefer where the point difference is not more than 6, but you can go for a range. You can go for a range of 10. But really, I love it when the point difference is less than 6. And I even get more excited when the point difference is exactly 3, 2, or 1. All right? The reason we're seeking teams that are mid-table is because in most scenarios, these are teams, and the scoreline that is more common in the mid-table zone is always a 1-1 or a draw. All right? And even if one team is to proceed and win, they will be winning by 1 goal, or the other team will be in a position to score at least a goal. That is why we're specifically seeking teams that are in the mid-table. So you view the game that I've highlighted to you, Atletico PR versus Avaí, and you go through the standings in Brasileiro Serie B 2025. We have the Atletico 7th. We have Avaí coming up 11th. All right? And indeed, there are mid-table, as you've witnessed. There are mid-table teams. And their points, we have Atletico, the home team, having 48 points. And we have Avaí, the away team, having 43 points. A difference of 5 points. All right? Their results have also been highlighted for you. If you're using SofaScore app, these are the last 5 results, specifically recorded by these teams. The number of goals scored by home team Atletico, 44. They have conceded 41 in 31 games. The number of goals scored by their away team, 39. They have conceded 33 in the last 31 matches they played. So that is step 2, or checklist number 2. In checklist number 3, we want to understand the last results. All right? When we're talking about understanding the last results, we will be understanding the results of Atletico, the home team. We will be understanding the results of Avai, the away team. We will be understanding the results of the head-to-head matches that have been recorded. Perfect, YouTube. So we're going to begin by understanding Atletico home team results. Right? These are the last 12 results recorded by Atletico. 2-1 win over. They had a 2-1 loss. That is the last match. They lost 2-1. Lost 3-0. 1-0 win. 3-0 win. 2-0 win. So Atletico home team. After reviewing their results, and of course understanding their position, which we did in the last checklist, we realized that they are 7th and they have 48 points, all right? They have 3 wins in their last matches, 1-0 clean sheet, 3-0 clean sheet, 2-0 clean sheet. But unfortunately, in the last 2 games they played, they had a 2-1 loss and a 3-0 loss. And when I view these teams, the teams they lost to were same. I might mention they were mid-table teams, all right? They were mid-table teams. And today, they're going to be playing Avai, which is also a mid-table team, all right? The bookies, however, proceed to rate them as favorites today. That is the funny part. They're not strong favorites, though they have an odd of 1.65. The odds should be fluctuating. And so, as we continue to understand the results of Atletico, the home team game, right, we want to narrow down the results of Atletico to this competition, that is Brasileiro Serie B, so that given the fact that the bookies are rating them as the favorites, we want to have a potential scan or a quick look at the most probable scoreline, right? These are the last games they have played recently in this very competition. And we realized that they had a 1-0 win, 3-0 win, 2-0 win, 3-2 win, 3-1 win, 2-1 win, which leads me into the conclusion that it's safer to say that the most common winning score, any single time Atletico, the home team, is winning, they will be winning and scoring at least 2 goals. It is only in one scenario where they were not able to score 2 or more goals, right? So this is what we are trying to bring home when I mention that in checklist number 3, it is your duty to understand the last results, right? I am making it simple so that you are able to understand it. If you still want to do it, you can narrow down their performance specifically to their home team results, all right? What we've done is narrow down their performance to this competition alone, right? That is what we've done. So we now progress and have a look at their away team results. That is Avai. 3-0 win, 1-0 loss, 2-0 loss, 1-0 win, 2-2 draw. Current position is 11. Points are 43. Difference in points is 5 between them and Atletico. Right? They have 2 wins in their last 5 matches. 3-0 win against a bottom boy in Survivor. Alright? Volta Redonda is fighting for relegation. And they have a 1-0 win against Chapecoense. Chapecoense is currently 5th. I might say they are fighting to finish in top 5, top 4. Alright? So they kinda not that bad off, alright? However, if you narrow down your search or your analysis process and filter it down to their away results, you will realize that their away results is not really motivating. Alright? I've not done that because I don't love going into that nitty-gritties. However, what I've done is to filter down their performance specifically in the Brasileiro Serie B. Remember, the bookies are rating them as the underdog today. They have an odd of 5.65. Alright? 1-0 loss, 2-0 loss, 2-1 loss, 2-0 loss, 2-1 loss. Right? If you go through their results, it's safer to say that in most scenarios, when they are losing, we're expecting them to lose by a scoreline of 2-0 or a 2-1 scoreline. Right? Now, that is what we have. At this very point, if we were to make our analysis and determine what market are we supposed to bet on or what team are we going to be betting on, I would safely say that the bookies, of course, right? The betting sites are indicating that the away team Atletico is the home team, sorry for that. The home team Atletico with an odd of 1.65 is what a majority are expecting to be the winning outcome. However, let us proceed and have a look at checklist number 4. Right, I was forgetting the head-to-head results. In checklist number 3, we also have to have a look at the head-to-head results. This is how their head-to-head results have been. In the last 5, we have Atletico winning by a scoreline of 2-1 while they were away. We have a 1-1 draw. We have Atletico winning by a scoreline of 2-1. We have a 1-0 win by Atletico. And then we have a 1-1 draw. So both teams to score is recorded in the last 3. The most recent result was a 2-1 victory when Atletico, which today happens to be the home team, was playing away. They won by a scoreline of 2-1. All right? In 2022, these ones are kind of dated, but they still play a part. They still play a part. Maybe these ones, I'll cancel them out, all right? They're not really important. A lot has changed. After all, this was under Copa Betano do Brazil. So if we had to stick our analysis, then let's just generally say that this is the most important result, right? So both teams recorded in the last 3. Most recent results had Atletico winning 2-1 while away. So in the head-to-head results, we don't have much to review and much to analyze. However, if you go through this game, this 2-1 victory, and you open it, and you have a look at it, and you deeply understand when were the goals scored. We had the first goal coming in first half, and then the last 2 goals came in second half. That was after the 70th minute. So it is Brazil. After all, it's a game that is being played later in the night. Goals do happen in after minutes. Goals do happen in late minutes, all right? So that is something we can rely on, all right? So we're done with checklist number 3. As you're going through this checklist, I want you to be realizing patterns, all right? This video is all about understanding patterns because I started by mentioning the following, all right? When we began the video, I specifically told you the sharpest bets are built on repeatable patterns, not reputation. And I mean it, all right? So I'm helping you identify patterns, all right? Beautiful. So in step number 4, checklist number 4, this is the last checklist. What we're looking for is what information is known by all right? This is going to involve you going back to the SofaScore app, all right? As I told you, when you navigate to the SofaScore app, under the matches tab, you scroll down, you're going to get the winning probabilities. When the odds are 1.57, the expected chance of winning is 64%. The odds we are referring to are the odds awarded to the home team. The home team in this scenario is Atletico. They actually win 56% of the time with these odds, all right? So SofaScore, all right, based on the data they have, all right? Of course, SofaScore also has data based on football players and all those things that are way complicated, and if I start explaining them, we will be dwindling around and running around without getting any point home, all right? So they're expecting, when the odds are 1.57, the expected chance of winning is 67%, all right, in this game. But Atletico actually wins 56% of the time. When I'm using the SofaScore odds section or the SofaScore potential winning, all right, I do love it when the team is awarded 60% plus. That is when I can say that, all right, what I'm talking about is the actual win. I do love it when the actual win is more than 60%. Is more than 60%. Any single time the actual win is less than 60%, all right? Of course, some teams are generally gonna be convincing that this is a game whereby the team that is been awarded less than 60%, the favorite team that has been awarded less than 60% is going to be winning. But in most scenarios, they end up losing, all right? Teams with 60% or more, they always come in the yellow color. This one had a gray color. Colors are not important, right? What is important is the patterns and you understanding the game. Just know that in most scenarios, when the actual win is more than 60%, that game is a beautiful game. And that team that has been awarded 60% or more, especially when it is a favorite, is going to be winning the game or is going to be drawing the game. Beautiful. So that is what is known by all. At the same time, if you have access to the team news, team lineups, right, missing players, all those things, that is what you get to factor in this very point, all right? And then, last step, the last checklist. What correct score do you think is highly likely? We all know that the home team is favored to win in this game. But at the same time, I'm not going to completely write off the possibilities of a away team scoring a goal. All right? So that being mentioned, my most probable score lines in this game is either 2-0 or a 2-1. But a part of me strongly believes that this is a game that is perfectly suited for over 2.5 goals. But the problem with over 2.5 goals is that over 2.5 goals in this game has an odd of 2.25 odds. These are odds that are terrifying, all right? I do not know the last time you bet on an over 2.5 goals that had an odd of 2 point plus, all right? But because this video is specifically on how to analyze over 1.5 goals, I believe we've achieved that. And how have we achieved that? Let me remind you in case you never understood it. So step number 1 is going to involve you going through the checklist. You're looking for teams that have been specifically awarded both teams to score yes or no in the SofaScore head-to-head streaks. There are always two types of streaks on SofaScore. All right? We have the recent, let me confirm the terminology. We have the team streaks and then we have the head-to-head streaks. But we're specifically focusing on matches where the head-to-head streaks is either both teams to score yes or no. All right? That is what we're looking for. That is what we're looking for. And I was also able to narrow down this game further. I went through the last 5 matches and I realized that in all their games, we had a goal being recorded in first half and a goal coming in second half. In one of the games where we saw Atletico winning by a scoreline of 1-0, that goal was scored in the first minute and the game ended that way. But in most scenarios whereby Atletico or the away team Avai gets to score after the 20th minute, that is a game whereby if you're going to be betting live, you should consider over goal market because I expect goals to be raining in plenty. And again, we all realize that, let me tell you this, right? This is now for live bet. I know you've been betting live or there are matches you've bet on, and you realize a goal is scored in the 4th minute, 6th minute, 2nd minute, 1st minute. Let me just generalize it from the 1st minute to the 9th minute. Most of the time, you will be tempted to proceed and bet on the over market. But be warned, all right? Especially if these are matches playing in lower divisions. A lower division is an example of this game that we are analyzing. Avai versus Atletico. Those games tend to be corrupted. I won't say fixed, but they tend to be corrupted because they behave abnormally, all right? Instead of delivering more goals, you will witness this is a game where we're going to be having 2 goals maximum. 2 goals maximum. But if you have a look at a league like Premier League, all right? You have a look at a league like Premier League. When a goal is scored in the 1st minute, you know that it's going to be a party. Goals are going to be raining back to back, right? So this is now a live bet hack, all right? Any single time you want to bet on the goal market and you want to prefer over goal market, what you should do, look for games whereby the first goal was recorded in the 20th minute after the 20th minute, all right? And I know you've also been asking yourself, must better, you've been nailing the corners market. When it comes to betting on corners live, I generally look for games whereby, all right? Now, this was not supposed to be included here, but because I feel that the class is classing, all right? And I'm having the flow, I'm having the taste. Now, we're now having a bonus section in this, corners live bet, all right? I don't share my corners live bet because corners is a quick market and it's a highly volatile market. That is the right terminology, all right? I might be betting on it right now And before I share the odds, the game or a corner will be recorded. So in most scenarios, the corners that I've been betting on, all the corners that I've shared with you, you're specifically going to be using Bet365. All right? So you're going to be using Bet365 to track when the first corner was recorded. And you're going to be looking for games whereby the first corner was recorded between the 7th minute to the 10th minute. All right? I only bet on corners in first half because this strategy only applies on the first half corner market, all right? So that is what you're going to be looking for. When the first corner was recorded between the 7th and the 10th minute. And then you wait, all right? So as you wait, you're going to be waiting for the game to hit at least the 30th minute, all right? So when the game has hit the 30th minute, all this time you've been tracking it. The nature of play, using the Bet365, they always have an interface whereby you're able to watch the game, all right? So as you do the tracking, you're making your analysis. And if the corners by the 30th minute are 3 or 4, all right, then of course, it is now the safe time to bet on over 3.5 corners or over 4 corners, all right? But do not go ahead and bet on a game whereby there are already 7 corners in first half, all right? There are already 7 corners in first half. No. That one is being greedy, right? So that is it. There are better explanations to this corner. But I believe with this one, you should be in a position to at least record some winnings. And believe me, go try it out. Have a look at even the World Cup qualification matches. I was able to bet on a few of them, all right? And these tends to work actually. I love it, especially on Mondays, because games are always limited on Fridays. I never use it on Saturdays and Sundays. And I always use it. I always bet on corners only in the evening. Not during the day, all right? Not during the day. And one league that is beautiful with this strategy is Peru, right? Always delivers. Avoid Denmark. Denmark sucks. It's a list that I have. I've been writing it over and over again. And I believe with due time, I'll be able to share you my complete strategy in regards to the corners market. So YouTube, now let us go back to this football game that we were analyzing today, all right? Now, we are not yet done with a complete strategy to predict over 1.5 goals in 2025. As you can witness, this is a game that we'll be playing later tonight. The bet was staked at 6:38 p.m. The game is going to be playing at 1:30 a.m. in the night, all right? Brazil Campeonato Brasileiro Serie B, all right? And you realize my stake is $490, all right? And you realize the potential winning is $833, right? This is the maximum stake. And as you witness, 1xBet has capped my stake to $490 on this game. I believe this might vary depending on where you're betting from and depending on how much you're staking. But in most scenarios, what I've come to witness is that in matches whereby 1xBet caps my stake. Where's my duster? In matches whereby 1xBet caps my stake, or they limit my stake, I need a duster. Bring my beautiful duster. Or they limit my stake, all right? What happens in these matches? What happens in these matches is that they always tend to perform. They always tend to perform. And when I talk about performance, there is always two types of performance. There's always A and B. A is what the majority are thinking, all right? And B is what the minority are thinking, all right? So, path A is always messed up, all right? Because this is what the majority are actually rooting for. For example, today, path A, all right, is a straight win on Atletico, the home team. That is what everyone is going to be betting on. If not that, Atletico win or draw, Atletico win or under goal in the games. But really, now path B, which is what we have analyzed and found to be over 2 or over 1.5, is what the minority are thinking. Because they are brainwashed by the fact that Atletico, given the fact that they recorded some clean sheets, these clean sheets, they will still be in a position to record a clean sheet. But forgetting the fact that Avai also won their last game. And Avai was also able to record a win against Chapo Koinese. And a 2-2 draw, all right? And in the head-to-head, we've realized 1-1 draw is also a common outcome. So to be safer, all right, this is what happens when games are scarce. And the beauty of it is that making money when games are scarce is even beautiful, all right? Because these lesser-known leagues, you get time to exploit them fully, and you are able to find value. So this is the game, all right? So the final checklist is going to involve you getting to your 1xBet app. This is my 1xBet app, right? At the moment, international breakers be kind of terrible, right? Eaten into my stakes and stuff. But that is not a problem. I'm really certain and positive that when the leagues resume, I'm going to be back on the positive note, all right? I'll be sharing you my balance, I believe, by the end of Saturday, and you will realize that the profit is going to be tremendous. At the moment, I only have these in my account, all right? So YouTube, the final checklist, all right? Final checklist. Let me try write properly. I need to get a digital whiteboard. Final checklist. So it's going to involve you using 1xBet. I don't know which site you're using, but if you're not able to use 1xBet, I'm sorry for you, all right? And you're going to be looking for games where the markets are capped, all right? There are even games whereby both teams to score is capped to a stake of only $70, to a stake of only $60, and they end up occurring. And in most of those games, the both teams to score market would look like a market that is really insane. You find that in that scenario, both teams to score an odd of 1.98, all right? And both teams not to score an odd of 1.6, all right? So generally, you're going to be inclined on these. So when you're using this strategy that I've shared you, remember checklist number 1, this, SofaScore. Checklist number 2, SofaScore, all right? Checklist number 3, SofaScore. Checklist number 4, SofaScore. And using the information that you've collected on your own and the information that you know on your own. Checklist number 5, what correct score do you think is highly likely? So after this point, all right, each game that I predict each and every other single day, I must come up with a probable scorelines. Because it will be mad of me to say that I expect Atletico to win, I expect over 1.5 to goals to occur, but deep down, I do not have a potential scoreline that I'm thinking about. That is the secret to winning in football betting. In any single game, you must lay out your potential scorelines, all right? And you must have window, or you must give room for errors to occur, all right? In this scenario, I'm expecting the away team to score. And if push, or if shit is to occur, then of course they're going to be annihilated by a 2-0 scoreline. I was able to read some blogs because I was collecting information. This is what I was talking about in step number 4. What information is known by all? Previews that are available online. A majority of people are riding heavily on Atletico to win by a -1 Asian handicap. So when they're talking about Atletico winning by a -1 Asian handicap, it solidifies my 2-0 victory. All right? And at the same time, I am safe with my betting market over 2 goals. So over 2 goals means the following. When goals are exactly 2, you're going to get a refund. The problem is that many people watching me, right? Some of you do not have these over 2 goal in your market or in your betting side, and you proceed to bet on over 2.5. Over 2.5 and over 2 goals are completely different, all right? So do not bet on over 2.5 when you see me indicating that it is over 2. Because when you bet on over 2.5 and goals are exactly 2, you're going to have a lost. But when I bet on over 2 and goals are exactly 2, I'm going to get a refund. Right? So at the end of the day, it is up to you to choose. I prefer betting on singles most of the time. And that is why when I am presented an over 1.5 goal with an odd of 1.39, and I'm presented an over 2 goals with an odd of 1.70, if you're considering betting on over 1.5 at an odd of 1.39, it means that you're definitely sure that the goals in the game will be exactly 2. So why not give it a try? If you have some belief, a part of you is pushing for over 2 goals. So that is it. The complete betting strategy to predict over 1.5 goals in 2025. In case you're wondering the resources that have been referenced, we've referenced SofaScore, all right? We've referenced SofaScore. There is a link in the video description. There is a link in the pinned comment section, right? Proceed and download it. And in case you're referencing Bet365, you have to search for it manually. 1xBet, you have to search for it manually, all right? Linking them is going to cause trouble, especially with the YouTube terms and conditions and guidelines and stuff, all right? So YouTube, that is it. Until this very point, I believe I've done my duty tonight. Now we wait. I am certain we're going to be rolling out into some beautiful set of victory as we talk tomorrow morning. All right? At this very point, YouTube, let me remind you, this is just one of the strategy videos that I've shared with you. I do create several betting strategy videos, and there is one that I created recently, how to get accurate winning predictions with no experience. This is the video. Please proceed and watch it if you want to see the exact step-by-step process for getting accurate winning betting tips, all right? Including the markets to bet on, including the odds to bet on, and including how to position yourself properly, which path to select. All the links are provided in the video description and in the pinned comment section. Until next time, YouTube, I wish you the very best. And as always, I'm rooting for you. I hope you get to win. I love you, YouTube. Bye-bye.